what kind of life do you want? I think now we just see a lot, so we want to do a lot. You only want to go to a better place when you are in a bad place.
Live your life, but respect yourself enough to know when you're done and take a U-turn whenever you feel like it.
We think by talking, okay? So when we put our thoughts into words, that's where our thoughts become clearer.
I'm trying to figure things out. Don't put that pressure on me.
I think society does not give you that freedom of figure things out, okay? Like they just presume either they have an answer or either they feel like you should always have an answer, okay? We are humans and be kind to people and listen to people and talk to people and have conversations, and I think that's the best way to figure out the what next question.
Exactly.
And try things and talk to people. If you can't try things, you talk to people who have.
The dots connect where bhakkare taksta ramro concept ni scare. Hi everyone, I'm Kritisha.
And I am Aditya.
And we'd like to welcome you all to Dhikichyau The Podcast, and this is episode 22.
Yep.
So this is basically an epilogue to What Next series, because I think we started out right here, kotira tinta episodes back.
Yeah.
About the what next question.
Yeah.
Of what after each milestone, aune question ho.
Mm-hmm.
How do you deal with that? How do you manage to get through that? And we've talked to enough people to, get a slight sense of idea as to
how to tackle the question.
Yeah, how to tackle the question, how to deal with it. And I feel like we've learned quite some things there.
Right.
Oh.
I mean, we don't have a clear-cut answer to this question, and I don't think anybody does.
Exactly.
But we've kind of figured out tools and ways to, kind of not be overwhelmed by this same question over and over again.
Because I remember, I was listening to Amrute wala podcast ke, the What Next, the sabanda first wala episode. Ani so puzzling the questions.
Yeah.
Even if I think about it now, the thing we talked about, it's still there, that dilemma, that confusion.
Mm-hmm.
But just talking to different people and listening to what they've done throughout their life, just makes it a little bit easier. It
definitely does.
The first episode, I think we covered a lot on the dilemma itself.
Mm-hmm.
So I think basically as it say, we'll, sort of give you guys a brief idea about what we learned out of it. And if this is the first episode you're listening to or watching, then maybe you'll get an idea of kunse episode sundahari say you'll get a clear-cut idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I don't know, I really like that episode there.
Which one?
The first one.
The first one. The first one where we were both so confused about what do we want to do next and how do we tackle the question. And I think the main dilemma that we had was, hamro afno jun decisions haru huncha ni, is it really ours? Is it something that society just tells us we should be doing?
Exactly.
So I think that was the first and the most the dilemma that we were facing with.
Exactly. I think this question comes up when you realize that your future is entirely up to you.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, you can't really rely on anything. At this age, people don't want to be relied on, I don't know, religion or to certain extent, or they just don't want to follow. They want to have their own identity.
Mm-hmm.
They want to choose how their life will become.
Mm-hmm.
So I think.
Are you saying oily at this age in time, it's more difficult because people, are more educated and they want to experience things by themselves and not just listen to what religion has to say, what culture has to say, what their families have to say, what the institutions have to say, but then figure things out for themselves.
Yeah, they don't want the cookie cutter thing, template.
So
they want something individualistic.
So poile say making this decision, what to do next, would be much more easier because you would just listen to whatever your religious scriptures told you to do,
Mm.
or whatever the institutions you went to told you to do, or whatever your family has been doing, you do the same. You know, so त्यति बेला चाहिँ it made sense because like most of the things you were doing, like you would simply do whatever your dad did, or you would simply do whatever your culture tells you to do. हुन्छ नि, it was like a narrow path. तर अहिले now you're open to so many options and you know open to making decisions and exploring things. And I think like you would say is more problematic right now because we have so much exposure. And the main thing we were like talked about in the first episode was the most एउटा चाहिँ एकदमै dilemma that like Nepali people face with is Nepal बस्ने कि बाहिर जाने, हैन? And I think we still do like kind of, you know, it's not completely gone, but we still have that kind of dilemma because it's always like bairako life, you know, because you always see people outside. That's where I talk about exposure, okay? So you're always seeing people outside. You're always like the grass is always greener on the other side, type, okay?
Right.
You're always explaining like Taki ola life. How's the life like there? Like how is living there? How are the people there? Like am I missing out?
Exactly.
Am I missing
Major
out?
FOMO,
right?
Fear of missing out.
Yeah.
So that's that.
Yeah. I think like like people, since people didn't have that much exposure, they just do what they saw.
Hi.
I think now we just see a lot, so we want to do a lot. Yeah. That makes sense.
I think the dilemma is always going to be there. हुन्छ नि, the FOMO thing हुन्छ नि, it's probably always going to be there. And it just comes in, you know, waves. क्या कहिलेकाहीँ high हुन्छ, कहिलेकाहीँ nah, I don't give a shit खालेको हुन्छ. But some days it's like,
it's
you
bad.
know, like what am I doing really? खाले पनि हुन्छ होला.
But I think like, don't you think you only feel that way when you're not content with your life? You only want to go to a better place when you are in a bad place. बुझ्यौ? So I think the goal is to make wherever you are a better place. You know, you'd only want to like shift somewhere else if you're not having fun or if you're not enjoying life where you are. You know, so I mean like make your garden green. You know? And I think like the same dilemma le wala the chai, first we seeked out to like talk to somebody who's actually stayed baira, you know, and that's when we came across Cassie.
But before we move there, just like adding on to what you're saying, like हुन्छ नि, फेरि you know, I completely agree हुन्छ नि, you only feel like you're missing out if you're actually in a bad place खाले, you know. But most of the time it's like good where you are, what you're doing. It's just like you have access to seeing people's life abroad, or like हुन्छ नि, you know, you have access to see what other people are doing or what they're preparing for. Ani the social media ko access le garda ni you feel like you're missing out, when in reality you're not exactly unhappy, you're just comparing your life khale ke.
Comparison, man. Comparison is the theft of thief of all happiness.
Definitely.
Yeah.
They know.
Right?
Social media and stuff.
How do you move forward? You can't like just like did social media. It's a part of life now.
Bro, I salute people who can do that, man.
Right? Yeah, people who can like hibernate and
I know. Like
turn off all their social media.
Yeah, I don't need this shit when it owns any. MIA.
But they get like now it's like so intertwined with our life that you can't completely give it up as
exactly.
well. It is like that's where work happens, that's where networking happens, where you meet people, everything goes on thing.
Exactly. Facebook पनि I was like sick and tired of Facebook, and I was like nah, I have Instagram, मलाई त्यतिले नै दिमाग खाइराछ, I'm not going to do Facebook जस्तो भइरा थियो. And then like college मा everything is like Facebook मै के.
Yeah.
The notice and हुन्छ नि.
Yeah.
Like a group ko ke kaam or whatever, it's like so intertwined with work with college or any stuff, so
exactly
like you can't really give it up either.
Yeah,
so it's tough, man.
So you just have to learn to live with it, but you have to understand, I think like see through the pictures as well. We talk a lot about seeing through people, you know, but you can also like see through pictures, okay? Because as the world would be a better place if everybody could accept their flaws and like post that on Instagram, okay? The reason why like I, myself, you, and many people, like it takes a lot of courage to completely be vulnerable on social media and expose that to the world and like make that is what like creates connections, Nita. But then what we choose to do it's much more easier to just like post happy pictures. If I went on a vacation, I would be like I would post. I would just post things that I want to show, that I want to actually I'm like confident
be
posting.
Identified with.
Yeah.
Too.
Obviously I have my bad days as well, but I would not post that because that makes me vulnerable. I know.
Yeah.
But then you just have to understand that everybody does have testo kuraharu. We just not everybody is comfortable posting it on social media. And maybe if we could, if social media is gonna be part of life, I think it's much more healthier if we can make it like a safer place where people can actually be open about themselves. Okay? So I think like that would say make social media a happier place.
So like, how do you make it more safer?
Safer as in like to actually be vulnerable, okay? To actually talk about human flaws, to actually talk about life as it's going on, not just life that that happens on weekends, but life that happens throughout the week. So if we can do that, I think like that would create more human connection instead of jealousy and comparison.
Maybe.
And I think like maybe this might take a while, but we can kind of I guess learn to see through pictures, see through them, like see that like
it's probably not what it is, khali bhane.
Yeah, it's like fun, like you see your people, like friends in Australia, US, wherever, and they're probably having fun, but then like they're probably like working their asses off in like some barista or some shit as well, So obviously they're not going to post that, but you just have to understand, and people are really doing good there. It's not that life is bad there, it's like people are learning, people are meeting people from all around the world, they're having their good days as well, but then like bad kurars is not so exposed to us,
right?
But I think maybe like you can reach out to your friends and like talk about life if you can't see through them.
Actually, like rather than just like making assumptions about what your friends are doing, just like have a decent conversation with them.
Yeah, I guess that makes things much better. Yeah,
right.
Mostly
That's
like
true.
I think like nowadays I've become more open about just like having conversations. So I just like hit up people and just like talk to them, like people who I've not connected with for a long time. And surprise, you kind of end up having a really good conversation about 2-3 hours. Okay, like randomly, people you've not like talked to for 2-3 years. You just call them up and talk about life, and there's a lot to talk about life. When you've not met for a couple of years, there's a lot to talk about life. And then maybe you've friends who've flown abroad and they're doing their own thing. You don't know what they're doing, what they've been through. And then you see them on social media, you see their stories, and you make assumptions. Oh, all right, they're going to the gym, they're having a good, like, they're doing this, they're doing that. They bought a new car, all right, that's all right. But then you don't know how, the struggles of like, I don't know, paying the bills or like, I don't know, cleaning the house.
Yeah, man. They made me realize you should have conversation with people.
I think like it will like
that makes more
feelings would I think calm down, and you can empathize and
exactly.
And the connection hune bittigai like the grass is greener on the other side
it just disappears.
The grass is greener on the other side, and you're making assumptions ni ta. Esto hola. What is life like there? What is this? Just connect with people. And let's say like first thing I told about with like if we could all just show what life is actually like on social media, if everybody could do that, social media itself would be a better place, right? But exactly. Is not possible.
Exactly.
Obviously, that is not possible. So what you can do is, I think we came to like, what you can do is actually like hit them up and like talk, man, just like have a conversation.
Yeah, I think like dots connect ramro concept ni scare. Because this thing because everybody's struggling, everybody has their own struggles. Everybody is like,
Everybody
doing their
has
own
their
thing.
own dragons to slay.
Yeah, definitely. And it just like, it feels good to connect to people. I mean, that's the entire idea behind social media. Okay, you're supposed to be social. You're not supposed to just like stay there and judge or assume. Like, I think I would be happy if in high school any friend would just like hit me up and like ask how I'm doing, or just like call me and like talk about life, man. I don't think anyone would mind this is until like you have a beef or something. That's like completely different. Yeah, Cassie, I think like we got a good idea about what's life abroad like.
Yeah, so that was episode 19, and we talked to our. Can you like a brief introduction, like short?
Yeah, Cassie is a yoga instructor, and we talk to because she's doing like really well in yoga, and she's teaching yoga in like so many places, like good, well organizations here in Nepal. And she's been to Australia and she stayed there for I think 7+ years. Yeah. And we just wanted to have that conversation as to like how was it baira and how is it different here, and she sort of gave us a brief idea, at least from her point of view, like what she went through, like so that's it. Gave us a brief idea about how's life abroad and stuff. And I think her main, the entire podcast, her key message was to, live your life, but respect yourself enough to know when you're done and like, take a U-turn whenever you feel like it, Khali.
And that takes courage. Okay?
That takes a lot of courage, man.
Yeah. So, to the understanding, like, most people I've seen, like not just abroad, here as well, okay? They stick to a job and they have this false concept of I'm going to do this until I make it. So what is the point? Do you agree that you made it? And I think like every point you just like want to get it over with, but can't quit. Okay? Because there are a lot of factors involved in leaving that aspect of life. Be it career, be it family, be it a relationship.
Definitely.
Like some people, like they know it's going bad. They know they don't want it, but they just can't take that U-turn. Okay? They just can't say no.
Exactly.
Or just can't quit. Okay? It's like relationships family sometimes your own family is toxic, man. Like institutions you're in, like maybe
Yeah, so definitely.
All of those things. And like, yeah, man, like she was in Australia for 7+ years. She did what she had to do, and she lived her life. She learned a lot. So from her experience, she learned a lot. But then, like at some point of time, she just figured out this life is not for me. I want to more, more me. I know more connected. I want to stay with my family. I want to have a more like the fast city life. Like type of no. When she realized that, she came back to Nepal at the age of 35 or something, 35, 36, so late 30s. She started doing yoga. So she started a completely new career. When we actually think of 35, you have to settle down, have this, do that. But like at 35, she was like strong enough to be able to say, no, this life is not for me. I'm going to leave this whole thing, come back, and then start fresh again with like a completely new, career. Right. So, and she's doing great. So, to have that. So I think like what we learned from Cassie is it's never too late.
It's never too late.
And you just have to be, strong enough to know, like be honest to yourself and like know what you want. Yeah. So that's how you can answer the what next question as well.
Exactly. Like try things out, and I feel like the biggest thing was like not to put a time cap on anything.
Yeah.
Like adamant boy like I mean, it's good to have a plan. It's definitely good to have a plan, but like you can always pivot. Like I think it was very evident from our conversation. And yeah, I think you guys should check it out too. We'll put the link in the description if you guys are interested.
All right. Yeah. So after that, we wanted to talk to somebody who's been abroad. Then we wanted to talk to somebody who's been here. And yeah, it's like we always like Nepal ma bhayepachi. To be honest, the job market is not the best. So like you have to see reality what it is. So Nepal ko job market is not the best. There are a few big companies who offer good jobs, but not too many. And like recall like employee retention is also not so good. There's like if you compare it with other countries, the employee benefits here are like close to shit, you know. And that's why नेपालमा बस्ने मान्छेहरु चाहिँ they're always, I think, like the entrepreneurial त्यो कुरा चाहिँ एकदमै ऊर्जा आइरा हुन्छ के. So people are more like नेपालमा बसेर आफ्नै केही गर्ने भनेर हुन्छ, because it's your hometown नि त. It's much more easier to do that here than anywhere else, you know. So that's why we wanted to talk to somebody who actually helps out entrepreneurs to start their own company and like bloom that. So we wanted to see the entrepreneurial scope of Nepal and kasto cha ani how is it like to, you know, work here. So that's where we ended up with Mahim Singh.
Mahim he's worked with Techstars and UT Austin, Stark Chamber of Commerce, Nepal Entrepreneurs Hub. So he has, you know, concrete ideas about what entrepreneurship is, and or at least what it's not.
Yeah.
I know. And I think we had a very good conversation with him regarding entrepreneurship. And Nepal machi scene kasto cha ta, because he's dealt with a lot of entrepreneurs in Nepal, and people who participate in startup weekends, and like त्यहाँ आउने मान्छेहरुको, you know, उनीहरुको mindset कस्तो हुन्छ, अनि what are they expecting and what do they want, where do they see themselves. So I think we got a basic idea of what the entrepreneurial scene in Nepal is. And I think we talked a lot about how once you start a business, the competition. Remember we talked about the go-kart wala thing.
Yeah.
How, you know, people, like even if people like steal your idea and like do the same thing, like if you start a, I don't know, coffee store and other people start opening a coffee store, there's, you know, there's no sense of community get this Nepal ma mostly. Like they're taking it as a competition, which it is, I know, but they're very salty. Just like
So what we like, you know, took away from that episode was, I think Nepal ma like there's a lot to learn in the entrepreneurial space, you know, and like things that people have to understand, not just like in the entrepreneurial space, but by the pani is like हामी compete गर्दा फेरि अब suppose like we had a go-kart thing in Nepal, you know, उता सानेपातिर जस ललितपुरमा थियो, अनि it के भन्ने, it's like it's not there anymore, you know, and there's a lot of reasons behind it. And what we diagnose is like त्यो एउटा like business matra kholera bhayena ki, you have to build an environment and the whole system around, the whole culture around it ke. Abo suppose there is like एउटा coffee shop खोल्यो रे, अर्को खोल्यो भने it's just going to increase the के भन्ने coffee culture नि त.
Right.
So more people are going to end up drinking coffee, you know. So it is like, if there's a gym and there's another gym, more people are going to get into the fitness industry. Like more people are going to get into fitness. So like it's a booming business for everyone.
Yeah.
I know. It's not that every gym kholdema, like people are not going to go to the other gym. That the actual fact is that more people are going to go to the gym.
Right.
I know. And Nepal ma चाहिँ कति धेरै कुराहरु छँदै छैन के.
And
when people try to bring new things, and somebody else copies it, unaharu चाहिँ like they get into a fight instead of actually working together and trying to build a community and trying to build a environment around it. Okay?
Right. I think Nepal Mati, we cling on to this idea and cling on to the advantages of monopoly. Okay?
Yeah.
Monopoly it's so much easier if you have monopoly.
Exactly.
And people are like trying to people are just like trying to keep it for themselves. Okay?
Yeah.
And they don't want competition. Okay?
Yeah,
when in actuality, competition is so much better.
No, I think it's a completely... I think like the industrial era in Nepal has come like very late, you know, like actual people starting up businesses. To give an example, US and like, you know, the British, like they've been in this like the industrial age and like all of that, like 200 years agadi ke हामी भन्दा. We just came into doing business much more later, because like obviously normal people weren't allowed to do business this like in a huge scale, like हुन्छ नि पहिला. we didn't have huge industries. But then on त्यति बेलाको concept हो क्या यो चाहिँ. So the monopoly that we're talking about is like 1800s को concept के.
त्यही त.
The industrial era को concept हो क्या. That was when the whole monopoly को idea was build the biggest factory you can and produce goods at the cheapest level you can. थियो के हैन. So that is when you have के भन्ने monopoly, because option चाहिँ थिएन नि त मार्केटमा. If you wanted a like car, there was like one big manufacturer. If you wanted a something, like there used to be like ठुलो industries haru, whereas अहिले चाहिँ it's like a lot of सानो हैन. So the idea of monopoly is, I think we're like clinging on to a very foreign त हैन, but then a very outdated idea के.
त्यही त हैन. I think it's also because हाम्रो market नै अलि small छ नि त compared to अरूहरू. Like even if you want to like scale it up, it's quite difficult के. Because market नै छैन. Like even if you want to incorporate, like तिमीले भने जस्तै हुन्छ नि economies of scale incorporate गर्न मनलाई पनि like demand नै त्यति धेरै छैन भने त कसरी गर्ने के. Unlike monopoly has worked out, I think नेपालको हिस्ट्रीमा चाहिँ, because like सानो मार्केटको लागि like एउटा नै भयो भने is like suffices, like हुन्छ नि it's sufficient खालीको. तर I think it is getting to a point where anything that springs up other than unarko, like any competition they see is just like they're just being bitter खालीके. Because बाहिरतिर त like there is this concept of collaboration and like हुन्छ नि like people would outsource because it's like cost less to them खालीको. अनि त्यो चाहिँ अलिकति नभएको कि जस्तो feel भयो क्या मलाई चाहिँ.
So maybe we could work on that as entrepreneurs, and make corporations, talk to fellow people who have like the similar businesses and actually work out ideas to, build the industry together, man. Like work on developing the whole industry, and your business will do well.
Yeah. Definitely.
So that is what we kind of, took away from Mohim Singh. And then we ended the whole series with a life coach.
Yeah. I think that was like कस्तो personally मलाई त क्या therapeutic लाग्यो त्यो episode with Ravi Dai. Yeah.
Has a like so म चाहिँ past to experience, it was just like हुन्छ नि, I was like के भन्ने मैले okay life abroad and like life like this हुन्छ नि, because के भन्ने Cassie is much more elder than us, so like she's lived a lot more life than us, and so
definitely
and like talking to her was like she was just sharing her experiences and made a lot of sense to me. And Mohim Dai was telling me Nepalko situation ke cha, she was telling me Bairako situation ke cha, but everything came together when we talked to Mr. Mainali, and
Ravi Dai is a certified life coach, and he has like apparently to be a certified ICF International Coach Federation ko certified coach you have to do like 500 hours of coaching like before you get the certificate, right? And 75% of it is supposed to be paid. So he has done a lot of life coaching to give us a good idea about it. And I think Ravi Dai sanga चाहिँ he sort of gave us action oriented things like tips advices so like
actual tools and like tips you could actually use in your life.
It was like one of those very interesting podcast episode where he was just hitting the nail every time like question Jesus, so that he had like such concrete answers, and I think खोइ क्या खुसी लाग्यो क्या सुन्दाखेरि.
त्यसपछि चाहिँ like I think like त्यो question भयो हैन, navigation नै क्या like he made navigating the question so easy के.
त्यही त.
So all right, so like what next भनेपछि like then he started with the most basic thing हुन्छ नि, like what kind of life do you want? He didn't like ask like what do you want to do or what career you want or what do you want to become. He just asked us like what kind of life do you want?
त्यही त.
And then it keeps thinking, what kind of life do I want? Like I want a life where I can be free. I want a life where I can take days off and just travel, So then like he talked about
goal setting.
No. Then he talked about what like तिमीले travel गरेर चाहिँ के पाउँछौ? What is the feeling that you get? I get a feeling of freedom and I get a feeling of के भन्ने त्यसलाई exploration.
Yeah.
So अहिले how much the feeling of exploration do you get khali, and that
how much feeling of exploration are you feeling right now khali,
so from 1 to 10 हुन्छ नि. So then you just like try to increase that. So you try to navigate your life towards your careers and goals that will give you that exploration ko feeling, that freedom ko feeling. And त्यसपछि चाहिँ you choose a career that way. You don't like choose a career and like make it into something, but then you want to go somewhere and you choose a career that leads you there.
Teta, I think we had a very fruitful conversation with him on goal setting. I know, like we talk a lot about SMART goals and has to be specific and all theory ma. But then like I feel like he gave us like kasto esto चाहिँ गर्नु पर्छ types खाले हुन्छ नि actions के. Like most of the advice is, if you think about it,
it's very vague.
Yeah, it's like okay, makes complete sense. I agree to it. But how do I get started? Like advice लिनलाई पनि how do I get started खालीको feeling आउँछ कि मलाई personally चाहिँ like I struggle with that हुन्छ नि. अनि उहाँको advices were so हुन्छ नि talk action oriented के. So it was like really refreshing. We had like a wonderful conversation before we started, like during the podcast and also after it के. So I think it was like really nice. And apparently like coaching pani, there are like a lot of coaching, I know different types of coaching. So he does business coaching as well. I know corporates are like pani garaunu huncha ani like leadership ko lai, executive ko lai, and also a life coach. So I think we talked about this after the podcast tara huncha ni. It seems like a very good idea to do some life coaching with him, because he can also, if you're like doing a business or something, त्यो aspect बाट पनि he can like help you out.
अनि त्यही I think like so हाम्रो चाहिँ नेपालीहरुको we have this false idea of like जबसम्म केही कुरा भाचिँदैन you don't go and fix it, हैन. So I think like you don't, it's not like you have to be full like म के गर्ने लाइफमा मेरो जिन्दगी ब्याड छ खाली सिचुएसनमा पुगेर मात्र you don't like opt for a life coach. But then a life coach can actually, if you're in a sound mind and you actually want
to do something,
run with your ideas, if you get a life coach, it actually like accelerates that process.
Exactly. तर पछि like हामी कुरा गर्ने बेला like we were asking him like, because मलाई चाहिँ हुन्छ नि, as I was talking to him I felt like damn, should I get a life coach खालेको. But then at the same time हुन्छ नि that feeling of am I like trying to opt for a life coach because I'm incapable खालेको पनि feeling आको के. Like is it like हुन्छ नि मैले गर्न नसकेर हो कि क्या हो, like I was questioning myself खालेको हुन्छ नि. अनि we asked him about this हुन्छ नि, like that's how I'm feeling right now, like what is your take on it भन्दाखेरि नि he gave us a very simple answer त्यसको लागि पनि, like हुन्छ नि हैन लाइफ कोच नै गर मैसँग गर त obviously भनेन. But he is like life coaching or like coaching in general is to be done when you're ready. And when you actually want to make changes. And also in situations where you're just like you just have to accelerate your journey and your like timi excel garnu parne अझै accelerated भएको रेटमा चाहिँ you have to do it. So like take your time हुन्छ नि, figure things out and then opt for it खाली गरे. And I think that was like a very profound answer to that question.
I think like another एकदमै नै like हुन्छ नि would left me like पछि म घर आउँथेँ when I was driving हैन, उहाँले भनेको एउटा कुरा चाहिँ the thing about pain and like the pain killers भनौँ न in life हैन. So that was say aha moment के हुन्छ नि. Most of the times we don't like opt for that change हैन, like Cassie did हुन्छ नि, is because we have त्यो anesthesia up our asses के.
Right.
So like most of the times we might not be happy with the things that's going on in life. We might not be happy with the job we have right now. It might not give you that sense of तिमीलाई जे गर्नु मन छ त्यो तिमी क्रिएटिभ मान्छे, तिमीलाई क्रिएटिभिटी गर्नु मन छ तर तिमीलाई जबले गरेको छैन. But then like हुन्छ नि, so you are dissatisfied throughout the week, but on the weekends you self-medicate. So self-medication is basically you just hang out with your friends, talk about complain about life, and then like drink, and then go to LOD and party, and the next morning you go to work again. So that just is like the perfect circle of life. So जति पनि dissatisfaction हुन्छ, you like kind of sedate yourself,
right,
and like you are back at it again. So it gives you that हुन्छ नि एक हफ्ताको अर्को फ्युल के हैन चट्ट लाएर विकेन्डमा पार्टी हान्यो सो यु लाइक हुन्छ नि क्विक फिक्स एन्ड फेरि अगेन सो त्यसले चाहिँ इट लाइक डजन्ट गिभ यु लाइक इट्स लाइक यु फिल द पेन अनि टक्कै एनेस्थेसिया दियो एन्ड यु लाइक ओके फर अनदर फ्यु अनि त्यसपछि थर्सडे फ्राइडे जसम्म ओके ल फ्राइडे आउँदैछ भयो देन अगेन हैन सो वाट ही टक्ड अबाउट वाज एनिथिङ द्याट मेक्स यु फर्गेट अबाउट द पेन remove that from your life, take it away and actually feel the pain, actually feel the dissatisfaction that you have in your life. तिमीलाई के कुराले चाहिँ dissatisfied गरिरहेछ, be it your job, your relationship, केले चाहिँ तिमीलाई dissatisfied गरिरहेछ, actually feel it, take that in, then you will like have the sense, okay, this is not working, I have to change. Then you figure out what you want to do. This position you can start exploring options. Then you can start exploring, okay, like I don't know, photography is something that I was interested in.
And take small steps every week.
Yeah.
To get closer to it.
Yeah. So he was like, so choose what you want to do. Like just like explore things. See what you want to do. Okay, photography is something I'm interested in. But then now see the gap. So I am working in marketing. I'm working in a bank. Suppose example, I'm working in a bank and I want to be a photographer. But like, I cannot do that because this job is giving me money. So I cannot just leave and like start off new because I'm not going to end up with money. So the free time I have, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fill in the gap. So photography, there can be a skill gap. There can be equipments gap.
Right.
So what are you going to... Networking gap. Like so many things about educational license लिनु पर्ने हुन सक्छ कुनै कुनैमा हैन. So what you do is तिम्रो free time मा चाहिँ what you try to do is you try to fill in those gaps. So if you need an equipment, if you need to buy a camera, so you work for it and you get a camera, in the free time kind of.
If you want to like talk to someone who's doing actually good in त्यो field, maybe like hit them up, talk to them about how they got there or stuff.
What is photography like? What is the photography scene in Nepal like?
Like how do you start? Like take inspirations. And I think that was like first made like he started off with that and I was like so blown away with that idea.
Exactly. And so feel the pain, then like slowly work towards it, like small steps. And when you know to then you start that as your side thing.
Right.
And then when that, gives you a monetary value, like I'm really comfortable, then you can switch.
Right.
So not everybody has the privilege to take that complete U-turn pani ke. Because law, okay, we always like, if you don't like it, quit khale huncha ni. Tyo pani हामी जहिले भन्न हुन्छ. But then like, to be completely honest, people don't have that. Like people just have to like work because of money because they have to pay bills.
Exactly.
Most people don't have the privilege to just like quit a job and like be jobless. Paisa kahamबाट आउँछ, the way you want to pay the bills from. But what he said made complete sense.
Yeah.
So keep your job. Feel the pain. Your dissatisfaction will motivate you to do something else.
Right.
Then so there's only two way to either you're like very very like unhappy with what you're doing right now and you're like this is not for me, I want to change, or then you find like suppose you're working in a bank and you have this immense sense of like I want to express myself through pictures. So there's like something greater, like something motivating. So that's the only two ways you can go about it.
Right.
So I think that was really profound and I think yeah man, like feel the pain.
Yeah. And I think it's also coaching is also completely different from therapy, and I don't think people should like confuse the both because like we talked about this in like त्यो वाला podcast पनि about how life coaching or coaching in general has to start when you're actually functional to some level, because if you have problem getting up in the morning and just like starting the day, then that's the time when you actually need therapy. I know coaching is when you're like functional but you have a certain goal that you want to achieve or you want to get to a point in your life. So yeah, त्यो पनि I think should be clear. And you should know when to get a coach and when to get therapy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So all right, I think that's the end of
like हाम्रो entire series.
And I think like your series को start देखि र end बाट I think we have quite like, you know, it has helped us make hamro life decisions. What next?
Yeah, I think you have a story on that.
Yeah. So I think like starting out your what next wala question, like I was personally like I was like very, very interested in this because I was having a lot of trouble like deciding what I wanted to do next because we'd recently graduated and then like all of 2020 happened and you know I was just like experimenting a lot of things. I was not quite sure. Okay, so the first dilemma that I had was whether to go out for my further studies or like stay in Nepal. And I also had this you know another dilemma about like should I actually pursue my further studies or should I work? You know, so what I was doing was after 2020 happened, after 2021 say I was working as a fitness trainer. So that's something I wanted to do. I wanted to try it, so I did it. You know, so I'm still working as a fitness instructor, personal trainer, and was trying to figure out mo chai abo yo year पछि चाहिँ म के गर्ने, like should I start working like a separate career or yo garu bhannu. And then that was the main question ke, like why am I actually doing masters? You know, is it because I want to do it, or is it because that's just like what everybody does? That's just what society tells you to do. You know, so figuring that out was a lot of conversations with a lot of people.
Exactly.
You know, and it really helped. So it really helped me figure out like the reason behind like making decisions.
Right.
And मलाई चाहिँ अब this is my take on it. This is my take on it. This is not for everyone, but this is very okay. So कस्तो भन्दाखेरि, so if you plan to stay abroad, work there, and kind of like decide like you have a mentality that you want to go abroad and like stay there and make a living baira, then like the sooner you go the better. Obviously you're gonna struggle, but then the sooner you go the better, you know. But if you have plans of working in Nepal, यहाँ पनि I guess the sooner you start the better, because Nepali market is completely different from everybody like everywhere else. And like yes, education. And another thing about education is, no, if you're interested enough, like everything you can learn it. Okay? You just need that kind of curiosity,
right?
And you're gonna learn. So I learned, I know, media production and everything on my own. I learned about fitness and everything on my own. I learned about a lot of things. If you just have the curiosity to do it, like you can learn, I know, man, like aeronautical engineering also, if like online. No, I think you can do it online, man. Like people can, like obviously degree Chinese is one thing, but then if you're curious enough, you can learn things on your own.
Definitely.
I know. I guess like for me it made sense to I personally like saw myself working in Nepal. So I was like I will plus oily travel restrictions or body raso. And that was one sano aspect of it, like just to make an excuse if I had to tell people. But then like personally I was like, I'm gonna end up working here. This is where I want to stay. This is where I want to work. So I will actually start working early. I'll start working right now. And then in a few years, maybe I'll like end up doing an executive MBA or something like that if I, if I feel like that adds value to me. So right now, I'm just trying to do that. Yeah. So after this series and after talking to a lot of people, I've decided to stay in Nepal and start working and put my master's at hold.
Aside for some time.
Yeah, aside for some time.
Yeah, I mean, मलाई पनि personally हुन्छ नि, your question of what next, it's scary when you are thinking about what next,
Yeah.
But it's also scary when other people put you in that pedestal and ask you, okay, what next one? Okay. Like okay, like हुन्छ नि, मलाई पनि सोधिरहन्छ ल, के गर्ने त, like you finished your bachelor's and stuff, what do you want to do? खाली गयो नि, I'm on a break भन्ने कस्तो अफ्ठ्यारो लाग्ने के.
People judge you so hard के, like हुन्छ नि, what are you doing now भन्यो भने like हुन्छ नि, बसिरा के भन्ने के, बसिरा छ भने they like give you the look like हुन्छ नि, you're doing something wrong, हुन्छ नि, you're just like a extra weight on this earth. What are you even doing खाले के.
I mean like yeah, but I feel like because a lot of people ask me that and like हुन्छ नि, I fumbled few times हुन्छ नि, like because I'm trying to figure things out. Like, don't put that pressure on
I
me.
think like society does not give you that freedom of figure things out. Like they just presume like either they have an answer or either they feel like you should always have an answer.
If you don't have
an answer, they always have an answer.
I'll give you one.
Bro, they always have an answer. No? And it's like, what are you doing? It's like, hey, why not? काम गरे हुन्छ नि. Masters गर्ने त्यो नयाँ IT वाला त कस्तो राम्रो छ.
Yeah. But like I think Theo, even if you like even if you're like you just have to be sure just like because मैले first match I like fumbled quite some times and पछि चाहिँ like I was like I'm on a break, like I don't want to study right now भन्दाखेरि नि some people were like appreciative of it then ew, that's nice, like हुन्छ नि take a break, figure things out. And at that point I felt like हुन्छ नि was I like overthinking about it and like हुन्छ नि assuming people would obviously judge me खालेको भनेर पनि के. You get what I'm saying?
I think
you just have to like हुन्छ नि be sure and like yeah, this is what I'm doing. Khale.
It's alright, like okay, try to be sure, but if you're not, take some time off, man. It's alright to not be sure about things.
Avoid social gatherings.
With aunties, please.
Uncles are there, so that hair.
Oh, and yeah, man, Malayan uncles are there, so that. Shit. That's social pressure.
Bro, aunties are there.
Aunties are there. All pressure din just like. Oh, bachelor सीधे तो नानी कहिले बिहा गर्ने?
I swear. Bro, I swear. Like, So yeah, I think this justifies the epilogue of what next question. And I guess like so if this is the first episode you're watching, then you get an idea of which one you want to watch and like kunle चाहिँ will give you a better clarity. And I hope you guys had fun throughout this episode like we did.
Yeah.
Also throughout this series.
So okay, if you had to like sum up the whole series in like a couple of sentences, how would you?
That's still a task, man. Like if you're struggling with the what next question, just take a step back and recollect your thoughts, man. Like it's okay if you're like late, okay?
Yeah.
It's okay to like, take a break and like figure things out. Like explore your hobbies, explore what you like doing, explore when is it that you're happy, when is it that you're not. Just like I think everything comes down to being conscious and being present, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're like conscious enough, you'll like figure things out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Talk to as many people. I think that's a very good way to...
I think like hamro generation we kind of, we value a lot of, don't be too personal about things, don't like talk to a lot of people, keep your circle small. But then, I think it's important to talk to people, man.
Yeah.
And so I was reading this book, Jordan Peterson go, and also like first, he talks about this a lot. Okay, so we are social beings, and we need to talk, we need to think, right? So when we think on our own, like our mind will take a toll on us, like because a lot of options, a lot of variables. So as humans, we think by talking. Okay? So when we put our thoughts into words, that's where our thoughts become clearer.
Right.
So it's very important to talk about the insecurities that you have, talk about the confusions that you're having, talk about things that actually matter to you. So
and sometimes it's like, your mind is like going to so many places and like dimagma yeti धेरै tension jasto bhairahuncha, you're like overthinking and like the worst case scenarios or dimagma huncha. But then the moment you open your mouth and like try to talk about it, it's so gibberish and it makes you laugh khali ke.
Yeah.
Like I struggled with that so much because like I was like I used to like think too much, and whenever I sat down with my best friend to talk about my problems, she would laugh like are you like hearing yourself khale? And then I would think oh yeah, that actually sounds very stupid, like why was I even worrying about it in the first place khale? Yeah. I think like things are more intensified and more scary in your head.
Yeah.
When it's out there, it's simpler.
Yeah.
sometimes gibberish, which is good.
So talk to people as much as you can.
Yeah.
Just like share things, man. We are humans, and be kind to people and listen to people and talk to people and have conversations. And I think that's the best way to figure out the what next question.
Exactly.
And try things and talk to people. If you can't try things, you talk to people who have. I know, and they'll tell you. And you can like, it's not fucking humanly possible to experience everything for yourself.
Definitely.
So the best next thing you can do is actually talk to people who have. So if there's like, if you want to do something in photography, talk to a photographer. If you want to do something in, animation, talk to an animator. If you want to work in a bank, talk to somebody who's worked in a bank. I think like that will help you a lot. Doing what next, and also meet a lot of people who've had different paths in life.
Because I've met some people who are like, nah, I'm bad with conversations, khaliko. But conversations, it just gets better as much as you do it. Okay?
Yeah.
So like, I think most of the things in life is like that. Yeah? The more you do it, the better you get. Okay?
Yep. The more you do it, the better you get.
And conversations is also like this day. Yeah. Like, you might be like, fumbling, or you might be running out of topics sometimes, but त्यही कुरा नै पछि गएर अर्को टपिक हुन सक्छ नि त. Like there's this time where I was like, running out of topic and यस्तो awkward silence भयो and stuff खाली हुन्छ नि. So it's just like, yeah.
And I think त्यसले गर्दाखेरि it also like kind of introduces you to yourself. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah, like आज हाम्रो त्यो के भन्छ social media वाला thing भएको जस्तै के.
Exactly.
Like I never thought about it, and like talk तिमीले
बोल्दै आउँछ के thoughts.
Like that just like connect भयो के.
Exactly. So I think like talking and sharing things also makes you be honest to yourself, okay? Because हाम्रो brains lie to us. बुझ्यो?
कसरी?
Either we're like insecure, our insecurities are okay that lie to us, okay? It'll tell you can't do things. It'll tell you can, like, sometimes it's insecurity, sometimes it's narcissism. It'll tell you can do everything and anything which is not humanly possible. Right. It'll tell you like the simplest things in life also तिमी गर्नु सक्दैन भनेर के. Like it is your brains will lie to you, okay? And I think like having conversations will like, I don't know, kind of introduce you to yourself. Like you have a better, I have a better connection when I'm actually talking to other people. Yeah,
definitely. Like after like all of these people we met and like you talk to them and then you internalize so many things and कुरा बुझ्दै जान्छ अनि ओके यस्तो भन्दाखेरि त लाइक हुन्छ नि यस्तो पनि हुँदो रहेछ खालेको. I think the thought process after having each podcast is the best thing. Yep. Like हुन्छ नि like conversation when like talking about conversations and stuff.
So yeah. All right. We'll end this. So try to be as honest to yourself as possible. Talk to a lot of people. Just have honest conversations, man. Yeah. We need a lot of, I think like that would make a world a better place if we just like, tried having more honest conversations. And yeah, this podcast has been therapeutic therapy session. This is where we let out our thoughts. Yeah.
This is a similar therapy session for you guys too, like because we're like trying we're actually working hard to get in like good people and like who match hamro content. So hopefully the type of because a peace of mind that we get after the podcast, hopefully you get the same thing after listening to our podcast. So yeah, we'll link in all the podcast episode in the description box.
And it would be great if you guys can subscribe to our channel.
Follow us on Instagram. And we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
Ta-da.